Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Steeg's hosting today. Seth has made a grave mistake by letting Steeg host Pod By The BAE today, presented by HomefieldApparel.com, your go-to site for all things college football apparel, college sports apparel, I should say. If you want something, to commemorate a national championship, celebrate a small school, or just find some cool gear, you can use our code BAE25 for 15% off your first order. We also have our affiliate link in the bio for you to use. That'll help support us. Again, BAE25 for 15% off your first order at Homefield Apparel. Now, gentlemen, I'm hosting for a very specific reason tonight. It's because you guys did something very important last week by supporting local journalism for the American Conference and went to Charlotte, weathered the horrible Charlotte airport to show up, give presents, and talk some sports with some big leagues and big wigs. So how'd it go, guys? In a word.
Fun.
Yeah, fun.
Fun? Hey, I like that.
As one of my favorite bands says, Mom and Dad went down to Charlotte. And you thought we had a bad time in the airport. Poor Casey Keeler. Most of the coaches in the league are flying in private. We get to the gate trying to get an early flight out because there was no point in staying because this thing was pretty sparsely attended, and we got to everybody pretty quickly. And so we get to the airport, and there's poor Casey Keeler trying to get on his third, fourth flight of the day because he can't get back to Philly. Flying commercial on the phone, and I just walked up and said, "Hey, Coach, thanks for the time yesterday." He's like, "Yeah, I can't get home." So I would say doing media days in Charlotte, I think the theory behind that was they wanted to sort of piggyback on the media that was already going to be in Charlotte for ACC, which was across the street at another hotel within walking distance of where we were at the Charlotte Convention Center, which was overrun by Mary Kay representatives for some huge, I would assume, national Mary Kay convention. Of course, this guy chose to wear a pink dress shirt before he knew that it was going to be a Mary Kay convention. That was my call for the day. I literally, but Seth and I had to at some point walk through the floor, and I was like, just stay with me. Everybody's going to think I'm here for the same reason that Mary Kay. We just walk right through the Mary Kay people. Nobody will give this a hard time. But everybody that we talked to was fantastic. We talked to, I believe, 5 coaches. Is that correct, Seth? 5 head coaches from the league out of 14?
I think we talked to 4 on recording. Yeah.
Okay. So. Yeah. So 4, and then we ran into a 5th who got there late on Thursday as he was trying to leave. And we got one of the great stories that we can't tell on the air. Maybe buy us a beer at the Bulls Block Party in a couple weeks, or maybe some other event. If you see us, you see Seth and I, we got a great story about one of the coaches in the league that we saw for media days that we just can't share publicly. But it's a beaut, man. It's just a beauty, and it's on Alex Golish. I'll give you that much. But man, it was really good. And
they didn't even tell me. Full disclosure, I don't know what it is.
But yeah, you have to buy me a
beer. It's fair.
You gotta buy me a beer, Steeg.
I'll go to the poorhouse.
I did get a thank you present. I did get a thank you card from a wedding present. So now it's on you. So you get a beer. I would say that having been to other media days previously, full disclosure, I haven't been since 2019 to the league media days. 2020 there wasn't one. 2021, I believe it was all online anyway. 2022 and 20, they did something weird in 22, I think, and then 23 and 24 were in Dallas, as I recall. So I did not go to any of the ones in Dallas. I will just say that having been to a few in Newport previously, that the attendance was far, far below what I expected. I didn't think they did much to try and do it in a way that to get sort of the media and the players and the coaches all in one space, networking, glad handing, whatever. There wasn't really a great opportunity for that. Food was fine. Access was fine. If you needed to do like an interview, if you needed to grab somebody, that was certainly available. We had our pick of anybody that we wanted to talk to, basically. So I'd say in that way it was good, but I don't think they necessarily got the attendance that they were looking for. And I think I would be surprised if they went back to Charlotte to try and piggyback on this next year. So, but we shall see. Seth, what did you think in your first one ever?
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I thought it was like you said, the access was pretty available. Like we were able to get access to a lot of coaches. Probably could have got a bunch of players if we wanted to. Yeah, like you said, attendance. The other part was that this was open to fans. Allegedly, I think it was open to fan, is what we ended up seeing. I believe we saw one guy with a fan badge. Everyone else was media. So that didn't go so well.
A couple of player parents. We did see a couple of player parents.
Yeah, there were some parents there. So
Sean Rucker's dad was out there. A couple other players from some other players were there.
So that was cool. For them to see their sons kind of suited and booted and doing a good job. But it was it was good. I was glad. Everyone that we spoke with, I thought was really good and gave some good answers and was pretty thoughtful. The guys USF brought were great. I was really impressed with them because you've seen a lot of player interviews just all over the country, and they're not all very good. But these two guys were really, I thought they were both really good, good answers, thoughtful. It was easy to see why they were the guys that got brought to the media day. There was a lot of like, why isn't Byram there? Why isn't this guy there? Those two great representatives of the university and of the team. So really easy to see why those guys came. So it was nice to be able to talk to them. So Sean Rucker and Cole Best, they did a great job.
Both, by the way, both graduates of the university already. Congrats to both of them. And somebody had asked them how much their Madden checks were. And I'm like,
I heard about that.
Yeah, I was like, how much you guys get for your Madden checks? They're like, Madden. I'm like, I'm sorry, college football playoff. I'm an old man, so forgive me. But no, they're super nice guys. But they all pick Publix over Wawa. You know, I get it. I agree. Publix is better, but like Wawa, like I got Wawa right across the street from campus. It's really good. And it's open at 2 a.m. That's the thing. Is like, we didn't lean into the fact that like 2 or 3 a.m, Wawa is there for you, and Publix denies you.
Yeah, these guys, I don't think they seem to be taking the process pretty seriously, Collin. So they're in bed recovering at 2 o'clock in the morning. They're not getting Wawa subs. So
I was asking them, like, where's the good bar to go to? And they're like, not
the
great.
Film room.
Like, where's what are we doing? Like, come on, guys. Like, let us live our undergrad days a little vicariously.
That'll be my version of Cheers when I retire. We'll be in the film room.
Yeah, right.
But they were great. The head coaches, we kind of started going down the list, and it's like, wow, there's a lot of really good coaches in this conference. Now, there's a couple of duds, but for the most part, you kind of go through the list, and you're like, yeah, that guy's pretty good. That guy's pretty good. That guy's pretty good. Like, you kind of go through the little, sheet they gave us with everybody's headshots and everything. You're like, okay, this league has a lot of really good head coaches. So we got to talk to 4 of them, and they were all really good. So Golish, obviously.
Well, I was going to say, I think we were both super impressed with John Summerall, and we think that guy's probably going to win a national championship somewhere.
I was going to say Golish was good, but we've spoken with him before. So, but John Summerall just stuck out like this dude is special. That guy's got a future. Yeah. Right. So that was kind of fun to see. Really good. He gave us a great Jared Lorenzen story at the very end. But he was really good. Honest, funny, not too serious, but could kind of be serious. You could see why, like, he's going to be coveted just through talking with him. And then Golish was, he was good like he normally is. So, but we've talked with him before, so that wasn't like a surprise. But
Golish definitely, as we had said previously, I don't know if we put this on the Slack or not, but Golish definitely went to the Barack Obama School of Media Training, which is, I literally think this, I think we had John Summerall for like 10, 12 minutes, 15 max. Yeah. And we got like 8 or 10 questions off, and he, short, funny answers, really thoughtful as well, like really insightful. I think we got 6 questions in with Golish, and we had him for almost 45. So just a he's not afraid to stretch out the answers a little bit. You get a lot in there. He gives some insight, but you definitely got to go through the transcript a little bit to find it sometimes. I
had to follow up, and I'm like, we can't spend 25 minutes on this first topic, so I'm just going to go to something totally different. I was like, he might get pulled away before we finish this one topic. So I was like, I got to move on to something else.
I asked him. My first question was, grade yourself for your first 2.5 seasons. Give yourself.
I don't think he enjoyed that.
He didn't. He's like, I don't want to give myself a grade. And but we got that after a good 8-9 minutes.
8-9 minutes later.
It was.
I don't want to give myself a B.
It was. I don't really want to grade myself. 9 minutes of talking. Yeah, I'm not going to give myself a grade. It was like a sandwich.
It was a combination of the Barack, like thoughtful, insightful, and the Trump weave. Like we got a little bit of both. You know what I mean in there.
Brought it all the way back.
And I give Golish a good grade, man. He inherited a fire of a program and has gone to 2 straight bowl games. And seems like he's got this program on the up and up. Like if I was him, I'd give myself at worst a B+. You know what I mean? And like I thought he was going to give himself a good grade, but he chose not to. He chose to avoid that one. By the way, the watch he was wearing, he tried to like downplay it because he was like, "Oh, we're really going to talk about my watch." As a fire Rolex, it was a black-faced Rolex. That I was like, "Oh, I am familiar with that timepiece," and boy. Wow, it was a beauty.
I mean, he's a head coach for a D1 university.
He flex on him a little, kid. I like it. Yeah. Go for it. Yeah, for sure.
The players do that too. So Sumrall, Golish. Who else did you guys interview besides Best and Rucker as well?
Casey Keeler.
For the guys that are going to be listening to the podcast, I think the plan for us is to release these in batches and kind of release them at an appropriate time, at least as well. And kind of withhold the good stuff if we can to the Ponderosa. But Casey Keeler
and Jeff Monken.
Yeah. Casey Keeler, I thought was really thoughtful. By the way, Casey Keeler is 66 years old and he looks younger than I do. That great. Guy, man, he's like, I'm 66. We're like, huh? I asked him a lot of.
I know. I don't look like immediately. Like, all right, calm down.
No, he does.
But he looked.
If he had plugs in, he'd look 40. Like not even a joke.
I was about to say his hair is not screaming 66 years old.
No, like even, but that's a man who has taken care of himself over the years. That's for sure. I asked him a lot of Philly stuff because I'm super interested in Temple football and what they're trying to do. That stadium is off the table for them. Apparently, I talked to a couple people up there about that already. And what does Temple want to be? And where can they go? And here's the thing: is like this is a guy who had his choice of jobs. He could have gone a lot of places, and he chose to go to Temple.
I think he used the term. He had a lifetime contract at Sam Houston State. Is the term he used.
They were 9-4 last year, so like I mean, he's done a really nice job, for a program that had just gone to Division I and chose to move back to closer to home. He said he got a house in Rehoboth, excited to see what he can do. If anybody can make it work there, it seems like he's the guy who can make it work. It's just such a difficult spot. And knowing the city the way that I do. But as they said, when they played Notre Dame 8, 9, 10 years ago, they were in the zeitgeist in Philly. They were on talk radio. They were, WIP is such a driver in that market. It's crazy. But they were part of, what people were talking about in the city. So if you win, the city will talk about you. They did under Matt Rule. He thinks they can do it again. So, and then Monken, we'll save it, but we asked Monken a great philosophical question. And I thought he gave a pretty good answer considering it's an unanswerable question. We sort of finished with that. So we'll save that for the Ponderosa.
The question we started him with shocked him to his core, I think.
Yeah. Jeff Monken, you've won the American Conference Championship. You've done great things. What's it like to work with Danny Verpale?
He was like, hold on.
Hey, what?
He's like, I wasn't expecting you to ask about a specific secondary coach for us.
But he was another guy, like really thoughtful, really measured, really good answers. I really enjoyed speaking with him. All the coaches were really good. I wish we could have gotten more. There was a couple more we were talking about, but it just some of those guys started to get super busy. There were, people going around like grabbing guys to do like quick on like cell phone camera interviews and things like that. So, but we got a pretty good group, so it was a good time. Got some pretty good barbecue one night after. It was like we talked football all day, then we went and got barbecue. I was like, this is just like a beautiful vacation for me.
Not only delicious barbecue, but very reasonably priced. I was stunned at how cheap. Like we are not
exceptionally fast.
Yeah. Exceptionally fast. The K1 did not get hit very bad on that one. It was pretty good. And then I would say the next day was a little more interesting. Seth, as we wake up early, as Collin's alarm didn't go off, of course. But I pull it together. We were there in plenty of time. We were still there 40 minutes earlier. So got some breakfast, pull in, go sit down, hear a little commissioner's address to the league. And I'm just sitting there and my jaw is just like on the table in front of me because I'm listening to Commissioner McKenzie and company just like talking about things like, we should add more non-scholarship sports to help raise revenue. Well, we have that already, and that's called club sports. And I don't understand why, adding non-scholarship sports is going to help you. We have that is called club sports. Talking about things like, I was so overwhelmed by it that I was just like, he's talking about college athletics as a business. This is a business and we shouldn't be afraid to call it a business. Private equity was mentioned. It wasn't a principal part of his speech, but it was still mentioned where I think, the overwhelming majority of the industry has gone, private equity doesn't really make a lot of sense in college sports. Seth, what were your takeaways as I was just sort of like going, oh my God, what are we doing?
I thought, we talked about it a little bit. There was a couple things I was like, oh, interesting to hear somebody actually throw out, even if, maybe they weren't the best or greatest ideas. Like you hear so many of these commissioners get up and just say, we need to fix things. And they don't really say anything. So I did think it was interesting that he threw out some ideas for certain things. Like he talked about the transfer portal needs to be after the season in football, and one transfer portal, and you get one free transfer after that. You have to sit a year. Which I don't think that's I don't know if we can get back to that without some type of collective bargaining, right? So that's probably not going to happen, but the one transfer portal period could happen. The other thing he talked about was, and this was one of his business things, was consolidating media rights, which theoretically is interesting, but again, I don't think it'll happen. But I did think, but there was a lot of corporate speak in there.
I was about to say
there was a lot of, I asked.
Oh, sir, I have found the transcript. I went back and I looked. Hold on, let me pull out the highlights here. Okay, the Built to Rise, the new motto of the conference, but it's not a motto. You know why? Because it's a mindset. Just put that right on the cover of the proposal. We'll get to our buddy Soar here in a minute. Seth and I were able to secure some Soar stickers as part of our journey. You'll see those, highly valued. Grit was considered one of the things that we need to talk about. Hold on. The three values of the conference, I believe they were called values, were innovation, grit, and service.
And the dictionary definitions up on the slides was like very like.
That's like middle school PowerPoint.
10th grade PowerPoint.
Webster's dictionary defines
grit.
Webster's dictionary defines marriage as kind of
defines grit as a corn-based southern dish. Oh wait, that's wrong.
Wrong noun. Just like this, and also saying this conference was built to rise. This is like just complete Deloitte McKinsey speak, like absolutely ridiculous. Said that they not doing a poll. He hates all polls because he doesn't think there should be any polls till week 4, week 6. Well, you know what? Fix the voting system. You know what I mean? We can do a preseason poll and then let's just fix the voting system so that the people that are ranking, by week 4, week 6, just throw it all out. There should be no bias. Like, let's not do, I would rather do a preseason poll and then not do a poll until week 6. But he says the preseason poll.
What was funny is on that, we're not releasing a preseason poll. Then I saw like Phil Steele put out the Roos preseason poll. Basically, just said, "Here's the American preseason poll right here." So it got out regardless. So it's not, you didn't really accomplish much by not having it.
And then let's go to possibly, perchance, my favorite part, which was towards the end. Private equity was mentioned, and of course, he said private capital firms are still talking about investment. Whatever. Let's cross that bridge when it happens. Let's hope it never happens. But then somebody else asked about the Memphis UTSA question, and if you haven't been following, Owen McCown at UTSA has been challenged with some text messages that allegedly, and this is all alleged, I want to be very clear, that he got some plays about some coverages from the Memphis defense before UTSA played Memphis last season. And our good commissioner, in an attempt to, I don't know what, goes, well, those articles, it's not a big deal. Some of it is clickbait, and this is all much ado about nothing. Some of this is clickbait and much ado about nothing. I don't know. I think the defensive player texting a player on another team what kind of coverage they're going to run against you that week in certain situations to the quarterback seems like something that I might be interested in knowing more about. Because,
especially with one of those players being
in there at media day, and we intentionally didn't want it. This is not our story. This is not our area of expertise. So we did not ask for Owen McCown, though we did see him and we thought about it. Seth, let's face it. We saw him out. We were like, do we just grab him right here? Do we like, hey man, what's going on? But we didn't think that was necessarily going to be fair to the young man, so we did not do so.
I was about to say, it would have been great. It would have been great on the fly media training, because that story broke the day before, or the day that everyone left. Yeah. So that means UTSA's SID had to go and eat
the picture came
damage control.
The picture, the first day, how it was set up, the first day everyone came in and got pictures in uniform and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I think the picture of the actual text message came out that night or that day. So so we went to the conference hotel that night and we saw his teammate there, but we didn't see him. And we saw some of their staffers there. And we were like, oh, is he over there? But he was not out and about.
Owen and UTSA's SID were in that, and the head coach were in that hotel room grilling him. You do not say anything.
That was certainly an interesting sidebar there. So just absolutely not much. I would say with the level of information that Mr. Pernetti had at that point, to call it clickbait and much ado about nothing, I think that might be a bit presumptuous. And upon further review and investigation at some point, those comments may not still be actionable, would be the kindest way I think we could put it. So a little bit of a jump the gun there. I thought Pernetti clearly, this guy has seen Boiler Room more than once. I mean, that's all I'm saying, man. He is, as he referenced, he was the AD at Rutgers, got him out of the league. I don't think it's, got them to the Big Ten, which is a move that, yes, if you have the opportunity to go to the Big Ten, you absolutely go to the Big Ten. Let's also face up to the fact that Rutgers was in such unbelievable debt, piles, and he left them in a financial morass, which they are still digging out of. If you have the opportunity to go to the bigger league, it's going to cost you some money. You're going to be in some debt. The amount of debt that they and the amount of bailout that they had to get from their university was, I think, the largest in the history of FBS, if I'm not mistaken, dollar for dollar. But don't quote me on that. So, man, that was something. That was certainly something. And I thought he said some good things too. I thought he said he advocated that none of the college football playoff spots should be pre-allocated to any team. I agree with him there.
Sure.
I think he said some things about amateurism needing to be, or smaller sports, women's sports needing to be protected.
Yeah, protecting non-revenue sports.
Protecting non-revenue. I thought he said that President Trump signed a law that will make these things happen. That is not what he did. He signed an executive order, which has no force of law, which will not really do anything, which was sort of just bumping up the previous system and then saying that they're going to look at some future things down the road and some other potential changes, but it has no force of law. It doesn't mean anything. It's not a law, and so it would be challenged in court. And any player that wants to go outside that system and says, with the current system, if you are given outside NIL money and Pricewaterhouse, I always say it's PricewaterhouseCoopers. Is it PricewaterhouseCoopers or is it Deloitte or who is it? It's
Deloitte.
Is it Deloitte? Yeah, it is Deloitte.
I went to a Florida Independent Media Day on Sunday, and one of Florida's NIL directors was there, University of Florida, and I heard him talking to somebody. Somebody asked him about the executive order. He's like, it doesn't really change anything. He's like, it's pretty much there wasn't supposed to be paid for play before, so there's not going doesn't collectives and everything still are going to run as normal for now. So,
but Commissioner Up in the Air thought that that was the force of law and was something that needed to be addressed. It's not a thing. It doesn't really mean anything.
I think it seemed like a lot of people, because that broke the day before too, right? So it felt like he just wanted to make sure he addressed it in some way. Like Florida put out an official statement on it, which basically said nothing. Like it seemed like a lot of people just wanted to say we're current, but
we know what's happening.
Yeah,
we are aware.
I thought Dan Wolken says that watching Tim Pernetti's press conference at the American Media Day, and he is just really good at this. By far the best communicator among the conference commissioners. Collin, do you agree?
I think he's a very clear communicator. Effective, I'm not sure. But he definitely got up there, had a teleprompter, and I don't have a problem with that. I think that's fine. I saw Resco fumble through a couple of speeches, so I don't mind. You got to use a prompter. It's actually read. I was like reading ahead.
That's what I was doing.
I was just reading the prompter because it was a very big prompter. So I was more like reading that than anything. He did ad-lib it slightly off of his script. I thought he advocated reasonably efficiently, but I think some of the actual policies that came down might be things that he might regret at some point. But as far as ability to communicate clearly what he's thinking, I give him that. He certainly did that. Whether it's good for college sports, whether it's good for this league, whether it makes any sense, that's another question. But I thought he was definitely clear that this is a business, as he said more than once. And,
I think he strikes me as a pretty smart guy.
Yeah, I think he's sharp.
Seems like a decent enough guy. We didn't really get a chance to talk to him, but
I don't think we were going to.
No, we got. You know what? We
could have.
We 100% could have got him
if we really pushed. Yeah,
we had. I actually, and Seth, I know I said this to you after that speech. I was just like, I kind of want to talk to him, but I kind of don't want to start fights. And so I was just like, you know what? Let me get maybe we can talk to him down the road where I get my stats in order and my stuff in order and can sort of like weigh against what some of the things that he said. And I didn't want to be, but I was stunned at the, some of the things that he was saying there. That's for sure.
We talked about maybe trying to get him before opening week game, since USF's in a primetime spot. Maybe we can reach out and see if he'll come.
Get a little chat going.
I think he's an interesting. His background as a football player, I think, is interesting. Yeah, like I said, I think he's a smart dude, but yeah, I don't know. He's kind of swimming against the current here, really. Like, so I think some of this is like, let's just throw stuff out and see if something sticks. Like a mascot for the conference.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, first off, was Soar in attendance?
No, see, that's where when you asked me one word, I almost said disappointing because we did not see a live action Soar. Now, if he would have come out in a Soar costume and taken it off and then given the speech,
that would have been hilarious.
That'd be great.
The other thing is that he said that there were almost a billion people, billion with a B, had access to Soar or the impressions of Soar or something like that. There's 370 million Americans. The sport isn't really popular outside of those four borders. So I'm going to question the billions impression number there just ever so slightly. But the other one that like really jumped out at me is he said that Soar was like, and I don't want to quote it directly because I don't have the transcript in front of me, but he said it was worth like $15 million in advertising and like free advertising about the league. Earned media. 15 million in earned media, to which I say,
what?
What's that astronomer? What's that firm that had the CEO feeling up on his HR director at the
astronomer, right?
Astronomer, right? Astronomer got more than $15 million worth of earned media over the last couple weeks. I wouldn't say that's necessarily a positive. You can earn media. It's not all good media. And I would say our friend the Eagle here, we got to find a way to get sound drops in the podcast, because I just want to hit the
Eagle
Stephen Colbert the Eagle screech right now. I would say maybe it wasn't $15 million worth of positive earned media, perchance. That's just my impression. But apparently there's a billion other impressions out there.
So
that
was I've got to say, Collin knows this. I've kind of heel turned on this, because I don't know if you guys know this. There is an official Sword the Eagle Twitter account.
Oh yeah,
and it's funny.
Trust me, as soon as we got the free Soar stuff, I'm like, you know what? I like Soar. He's great.
Look at you just selling out of your first media day, and you're just chilling right
away.
Get my man some stickers at a barbecue, and look at this. He's just
Soar. You know what?
Oh, and we did get a charger too. We didn't talk about it. We did get wireless chargers.
Oh, you got a you got a stick.
Go find it.
A shirt and a wireless charger.
Well, I got it.
Beautiful.
I got mine right here. Yeah. So it was interesting.
It does not say AAC though. My old one said I had a
it would say AC
previously. Yeah. It would say AC.
They had redone. They want to make sure the branding was.
Or maybe it's just because it uses DC power, not AC power.
That is, I could. Jesus Christ! I can also tell you that is an outdated piece of tech right there.
Yeah, for sure. Look, I wasn't expecting much, but it was fine. I would just be, it was definitely less well attended.
So much for the American conference.
So much for the American made in China.
God.
I would say oversight. I would be surprised if they went back to Charlotte. I think they should probably do something to try and make this interesting, whether it's a clam bake, and I don't know how expensive the clam bake is, but having eaten there a few times, it was definitely not cheap. Maybe to do something to get more people there and interested, maybe you do it at a different time of year. But I don't know that they got a lot of coverage out of this thing. I don't know what they spent on it. I don't know what the value was. But we'll see in the future. If they want to keep this event going at this level, that's fine. You're not going to get a lot out of it. We did, we personally did. I think it was great for our readers, our subscribers. But I'm not sure that for the league wide that they got a lot out of it. And you got to do it at a place with a good airport. That's the big thing on these events is airport is everything. So New Orleans, maybe Dallas. If Dallas didn't go so great, maybe New Orleans. Maybe go. Seth was talking maybe someplace up in the Panhandle, off 30A. Problem is getting there. It's just really hard to get to when you're trying to fly in media. It's not a big problem for the teams. Most of them flew in private. We did mention this. You see these kids. I used to go to these events, and they would have these kids wearing polo shirts that they would have to give back from their teams at picture days, and walking around and all this. Now these kids are all in suits because they can afford it because we're paying them. Thank God. And they're all flying private. To get to the event. Trent Dilfer didn't fly private, and Casey Keeler didn't fly private. But are we aware of anybody else who had to fly commercial, Seth? Oh, Navy, and I think Navy or
didn't Munkin say?
Munkin said, yeah, Munkin said it too.
He was did you get the private? He's like, no.
No, he didn't get it. He's got access to one now. Yeah. He does apparently have access to some, but it's
I don't think Army or Navy are probably private jetting.
No.
You kidding me? I mean, they have planes. And I know Navy does. Navy's got planes. I know that, and I don't know, how that works. But can you guys just parachute out when you're flying? Right. just
Black Hawk helicopter.
So I think probably a better word for both of you guys is the fun was corporate. This seemed very corporate. I go to a lot of corporate events. And watching y'all's recap and listening to what you guys were saying and everything like that, it seemed very corporate.
I don't think it was that organized to be it wasn't crazy. It was to me, corporate screams super. It was there's a check-in desk. Collin and I got there. There's pretty much nobody there. They're oh, can we have these source stickers? They're like, yeah, whatever. Like, take whatever you want.
Yeah, take whatever you want.
That's perfect.
So it was. I mean, it was well run. Like, it was not like poorly run or anything. But
no.
Yeah, it was. The attendance was sparse. I was telling Steeg, like, and I've never been to one, so I don't know. Not even including the players, just coaches and staffers. And we won't even include like the media people the schools brought, and then the conference staffers was probably 3-1 for media members there. It was, or more. Like, it was pretty full, and Pernetti spoke, like, somewhat full. Pretty full was, there might have been somebody in each row, but not each row was not full. And then once he was done, most people just got up and left. So Golish was speaking in front of like 12 people.
Yeah. We stayed for Golish, and I thought, he did the same thing from the podium he did with us, which he gave a very
3 questions.
Circuitous. We'll say 3 questions and some circuitous answered in 15 minutes, which, that's his style. It's fine. Look, man, if a coach isn't necessarily hilarious or gives out great clips or quippy, but he wins and 2 bowl games in 2 years and has what appears to be a better team this year, then hell yeah, man, whatever you got to do, however you get there, I don't care. Just find a way to get there. So yeah, that's it. And now we're in practice, and season's right around the corner, and we're playing on. We're 30 days, not even 30 days. We are 23 days. No, that's not right.
That can't be right.
That can't be right. It's 25 days. We're playing on Thursday, and it's Tuesday. 21, 23. I don't know.
August 28th is the game.
Oh, 28. Sorry, 30. So we're 30 days. Yeah, we're 30 days out.
30 days out.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm excited. I'm thinking of. I always count it down to week 0. Farmageddon. I'm so fired up for that Farmageddon doubling game. That's going to be so awesome. So yeah, look, we'll see what happens. I think with the amount of turnover in college football, we are all just projecting. We're looking at talent rankings. We're seeing, coaches and fit, but we are all just guessing here. We are really the sport has never been so weird in that trying to project what is going to happen has never been more of just a shot in the dark. And we've seen that in college basketball rather, for the last couple of seasons, where the early season, you just never know what's going to happen. And I think we've finally reached critical mass there in college football as well. We just don't know what's going to happen until it happens.
And injuries are, I think, much more damaging now because your depth has been robbed by the transfer portal.
Speaking of injuries, we did break a story while we were up there accidentally. I'm not sure what was supposed to happen there, but Alex Golish we were asking about Byron Brown's injury report, and we said, would you favor injury? My first question was, would you favor league-wide injury reporting? He goes, yeah, we're doing it. I was like, really? Because we hadn't heard that. He goes, yeah, we're doing league-wide injury reporting next year. I was like, oh, well, that answers that question. Going to be
there goes my first, second, and third follow-up question.
There goes all my follow-up. And he goes, yeah. And so it's going to be there will be no Thursday report, which actually, from a gambler's perspective, we can talk about this in some other pod, but from a gambler's perspective, the Thursday report is actually more important than the Saturday. And so I do wish the league had gone to a Thursday report, but something is better than nothing. And the reports will be issued 3 hours before kickoff for conference games, where we will have players listed as in, questionable, out, I assume. But see, here's the thing with this reporting process, the way that it is. Byron Brown last year just could have been listed as questionable before every game, even when he's got a broken ankle. Wait, did he have a broken ankle? Yes, he had a broken ankle. And we knew that going into the week after he broke his ankle. And, so you could just have him listed as questionable, even though there's like 0 chance of him playing or dressing. So how those are going to be enforced, I am interested to see. I don't know if, I
mean, they don't penalize you if you're wrong, right? Like they
should. Theoretically, they should.
They should say. Yeah,
Wayne got some crap last year because some SEC reports
last year questionable for like 30 guys.
Literally 30 guys were listed as questionable, and they report multiple days a week. The SEC is the only league that does that. So they were reporting on like I think they report Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, I believe. Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. And like on his Wednesday report, he'd have like 30 guys questionable. And then, or it was the Friday night report. Sorry, there was a Friday. And then on the Friday report, it'd be down to like 6. So it was like, come on, man. So I know that he got in a little trouble with Sankey about that, but what kind of trouble, that was not publicly known.
Yeah.
You know, so
they go Wednesday and then Thursday and Friday.
And Friday. Yeah,
and then final report 90 minute before kickoff.
Right. So
yeah. Yeah, I mean that to me it's a weird thing because it seems like it's never fully truthful. Like I liken it a lot to the like hockey injury reports that you get like during the postseason. Like everyone's injured. You kind of already know that. So unless even if your star player, you know, given it's a Byron Brown or an Arch Manning or whomever it is, if there's a chance that they could play, the coach is just going to list them as questionable anyways.
Yeah.
Right? Like everyone kind of does that at this point.
Like that's why the NFL system, I think, is, I mean, it's not ideal, but I think it's probably the best that we can do, which is every day, you know, it's in, if you're not on the report, you're in, questionable or probable, questionable, doubtful, out. And they also whether or not you practice that day. And if you went full hard, that's listed. If you went, you know, limited drills, whatever, that's listed. I think it's the best we can do.
Yeah.
And so this reporting, you know, system that the AAC is using is better than nothing. I think it's good. Maybe the coaches didn't want to like jump with both feet into it, which is ironic considering a point guard at one of the schools is probably going to jail at some point. But I mean, I'd be jumping in with both feet if I was if I was one of these coaches, because there's kids from Temple, you go to jail. Well, I'd say that publicly. I don't know, but
maybe
the league office was looking at sore renderings. They were too busy too.
Yeah, he's already. He's either going to jail or he's rolling over on somebody, I should say. So better than nothing. But yeah, I like Seth said, you know, I think this league is just kind of is where it is. I thought Pernetti, as well as handled the question about Memphis trying to spend $200 million to get out of the league, I thought he handled about as well as it could be handled. You know, it's just an awkward spot. He goes, you know, I had clear communication from Memphis about what was happening, blah, 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 blah. But he knows, like, if they want out, they want out. There's nothing you can do. So I thought he handled that well, but still.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is the league is such in a volatile state right now that I don't envy a guy like Pernetti having to kind of weather the storm of everything going. I don't envy any of these coaches really, or any of these media members at this point, because it seemed like it was just a reoccurring theme everywhere aside from the SEC and the Big Ten. But even then they have their own kind of stink and controversy. They always do. I mean, there's always something big in the news cycle that you have to kind of weather that storm for. So yeah, I mean, listening to Pernetti talk, like it comes off very corporate. It comes off very like these guys watch the games as like, you know, how can I get more money out of this, rather than how can I watch this game to make it more enjoyable for the people watching the game, kind of thing.
Right. Do we think he's taking stances that most of the media like or would find intriguing to position himself for a larger job?
I mean, probably. I mean, that's the overall goal for all these people, right? Like everyone wants to position.
Like I'm sure he'd like to be the Big Ten commissioner or something,
right?
You know,
and that is the biggest. And I've talked about this with people in this industry, literally my entire adult life, which is if you buck the system you fail. If you buck the system fails you, because if you are doing what you should do in your current position, but advocating against the top tier, it hurts your career, because then when it becomes your turn to take that, they go, oh, well, you don't want this rabble rouser in our hallowed halls. So it's a very tough balance. And quite frankly, I've talked with high level administrators across the country about this. And it's a real concern. It's why this is, I think, the most insular industry in all of American business, not just in sports, is college athletics administration, because it does not reward those who think outside the box, and it does not reward you for advocating for your current position, because then it personally prevents you from getting to the position, the top positions in the industry. Right. Like if Pernetti goes out there and raises hell, I don't see him being on an NCAA men's basketball committee again.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how this business works, and it sucks. And it's, I think, one of the biggest problems with the industry as a whole. And it's also, that kind of groupthink, that kind of like, oh, we got to do it this way. They are student athletes, blah, 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 blah. You didn't hear any ADs piping them and going, yeah, we did pay these kids. That's why I love, I might not love the Gators, but I will go to the grave for Stephen Orr Spurrier for getting up there and saying, yeah, I make enough money. Let's pay these kids. And he had the clout to be able to get up there and say it and get away with it. You'll never hear for decades, you never heard an administrator say that. And, that was part of the problem. And that's why they're 0-60 whatever in court.
As always. Well, switching gears, because we've talked about 46 minutes on American Conference Media Days, which I think is plenty.
Vito, cut this out.
That's more than we talked probably cumulatively at Media Days. Just about.
I was about to say, fall camp has begun naturally right after Media Days. So USF had their first day of fall practice yesterday. Day 2 was today. We've been keeping tabs in the Ponderosa of our Discord, per usual, and just keeping general notes of what's going on. Obviously, par for the course at this point with Golish and company is that we're not going to get much from these post-practice pressers, aside from just praise, general know-how of players, and just general information that a coach wants to share. Nothing big on the injury side of things. Was given a little bit of an ask to see what was going on with the Bryce Archie situation. Golish obviously had a lot of very good things to say about Bryce Archie, talked about how it was a difficult decision for him, but ultimately I think we all, and that includes everyone in the Discord, we probably all agreed him signing that contract to go play for the Reds was the smartest decision he could have made, because there is no probably, future for him in the NFL.
No, I don't think
that.
So.
And honestly, what was it? A 14th round selection from him from the Reds, I think.
14th or 15th, I think, something like that.
Yeah, like that's a pretty good gig for him. You can come in as a reliever in AAA or whatever, and work your way as like a reliever and start to get those rounds. And if you don't make it, you don't make it. But he signed like an entry level contract already, which obviously swung the door for Gaston Moore to get ushered in. Again, Golish had a lot of really good things to say about them, had a lot of really good things to say about the quarterback room and their preparedness. It seems like we can kind of lightly pencil the quarterback depth chart as Byron Brown, Gaston Moore, and Lachlan Hewlett, and then Marcellus Tate. Golish did make a mention that Lachlan Hewlett is, as a true freshman, one of 12 players on the player-led council for the University of South Florida football team. So that's a pretty good honor for him. But obviously, a true freshman, he's still learning the ropes at this point. Seth, anything from practice on day 1 or 2 that you learned about a team that you're going to really just kind of pillage in for the next couple of months here?
No, I mean, not really. There's not much to learn until, especially early, because it's a lot of. I'm assuming there's some bit of, getting acclimatized to kind of getting acclimated to the heat and all that kind of stuff. So, early on, it's just, I think more operational, which I think being year 3 and that stuff's probably all pretty smoothed out. But there's not.
Seth, is the rule still that the freshmen and transfers have 2 extra days of pre-practice before everybody else hits the
field? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm guessing it's changed. Yeah, I'm not positive, but I mean, there's obviously you can learn some things, but we won't hear too much outside. I thought he gave a nice, good long answer on that quarterback question. He gave interesting answer on the running backs. There seems to be a kind of a strata there of guys that the transfer guys are probably at the top of the heap, and then maybe Alvin Isaac. But he also mentioned some young guys there too. So he gave interesting answer kind of on the running back group. And I don't know. I feel like if you kind of listen to some of his pressers, you can kind of start to suss out what that starting unit might be, just because on who he's talking about a lot and how he's talking about them. So, yeah, there's not, we'll learn more as camp goes on, and I'm sure we'll have our ears to the ground and see what we can hear. But the good thing is that they've started, so we're getting closer and closer to that first game.
Let us into a film room. Come on, coaches. Let us sit there and let us watch tape with you after a practice one day. Let's that'd be cool. Welcome to guessing season. Especially with the access that we have at practice nowadays, it's just really tough. Open practices tend to be a thing of the past, like fully open practices. We might get a couple, but that's not going to be anything that's going to be hugely valuable. And even then, like with this team, like honestly, as covert op as they are, I think on days when they had a fully open practice, they still might move around a couple of bodies on a couple of teams, move some guys up to first team that are actually backups, and move some backups, to first team to just throw us off. So I wouldn't be stunned if they did something like that, even at a fully open practice. But
yeah,
what it is.
They have been known to try to throw off the scent as much as possible, and we saw it last year. Saw it plenty of times. It's as par for the course as you could possibly get at this point for this staff. They like to let the information leak out when they want it to leak out, and so far, kind of everything is under wraps. We can kind of boldly assume the starting unit, like Seth mentioned, but it's gonna flip flop. I'm less concerned about starters and more about percentage of snaps played. Someone asked us about who the top 6 wide receivers are going to be. I mean, they're probably going to shuffle like 9 receivers in pretty regularly, just because these guys get in for entire drives, right? Like, when you start your drive, you are on that drive until you are done, whether that is a touchdown or a 3-and-out or whatever happens in between. So, for some instances, you might get a guy who, they cycle in for these first couple weeks, and then, you have the set designated. All right, we're going to go 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3. And then you kind of, by the time you get to conference play, you might just do 1s, 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 2, 1s, 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 2 kind of situation. So again, less concerned about starters at this point, but you can kind of feel the talent parameter around this offense and defense kind of being elevated, because we can't really guess who the starting nose tackle is going to be at this point, or some of the starting defensive backs at this point. So
I do want to say we might have buried the lead here. Collin's question was mentioned. One of your questions, Golish did mention one of your questions in his press conference.
Oh, what did he say?
He said, he said, somebody asked me the other day about us playing 16 guys on defense against Alabama, and Alabama playing 25 guys on defense.
It was 21, and it was 10. It was guys who played 10 snaps or more.
Yeah, and he talked about that in terms of feeling like they have better depth now. But he mentioned the question, and I was like, "Hey,
oh, that's good.
I know who asked
Golish, of Pod By The BAE. Look at that."
For as upset as he looked when you asked the question, I'm glad it's stuck.
I think he just has that general look. Like, I think he was perfectly nice. I don't think he was nice. He was great. I mean, I don't think he was out of line at all with us. I thought we gave him good stuff. But the stat that I used was that we played 16 guys 10 or more snaps against Bama, and they played 21 guys 10 or more snaps. And just that difference in depth, and how in the fourth quarter it became pretty clear that our guys were running on fumes. And so I thought his answer was great too, which is that, the offense is designed to go fast, but we can slow it down, and we will slow it down situationally if it needs to happen. It's not that they're just going to stick to the system and go all the time. They will situationally do what they need to do. And that's always what I want to hear from a coach. Seth and I know we're both big believers in, you do what you do, but then also you have to be willing to, make adjustments based on personnel, time, score, situation, etc.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, use Colin's question as a lead into a nice point.
We're getting nice.
Look at
that. Look at these guys. But yeah, I mean, as far as fall camp goes, I mean, we're going to try to dig as much information as we possibly can. The good news is, at least, there shouldn't be much recruiting-wise that we need to go over, since they're basically chock full at this point. So our entire focus for football is going to be around this football season, and what goes on in these games. The recruiting visits are going to be great and everything like that, but right now we're full speed ahead on that. So once we get more information, we'll share it in our Ponderosa section. But last and certainly not least for this episode of Pod by the Bay, and the news for Collin and Steeg, not only but predominantly, we have our volleyball schedule finally.
I told you there was a tournament coming. I had heard there was a tournament coming, and man, they set that thing apart. By the way, we're playing Central only as an exhibition game. I like that.
Yes.
Never played that.
So the season for volleyball starts on August 23rd with that exhibition game against UCF, like Collin mentioned. They play a Tennessee Classic against Purdue and the University of Tennessee Knoxville. They play against Florida at the Yuengling Center on September 2nd. They host the South Florida Invitational, which will be with Florida State and South Carolina. That'll be at the Yuengling Center and the Corral. Funny enough, the USF versus Florida State game is going to be in the Yuengling Center. The Florida State South Carolina game, and then the USF South Carolina game is going to be in the Corral. So, we'll plan accordingly. Diet Coke Classic, that'll be in Minneapolis against Minnesota, South Dakota State, and Dayton. Then they travel to Omaha.
By the way, Dayton's the best team in that field. FYI.
What's that all about? The what classic?
Yeah. Seth, we're flying you out there, actually.
Seth is, look, man, my man had multiple bottles walking through the airport, like just on his person.
It was a tough flight, man.
You guys got delayed, what, 3.5 hours?
3 hours. Yeah, the multiple
3 hours
hours. It was a tough flight. I had to hit the hard stuff.
All right, Seth, you got a decision to make. Go on, Collin.
I was gonna say, Seth, you did get to travel with the full Collin experience, which is like, oh, we could fly home a day early. Oh, you want to change your flight? Oh, let's do all that. I mean, come on, it could be worse, man. Like, I mean, it was great. You get all the statuses and all the the free bottles of water, the front desk, all that. Oh, it's great, man. And then so also that Creighton tournament. It's a shame we got football that weekend, because that Creighton Kansas volleyball tournament in Omaha would be one I'd really want to go to. Creighton volleyball, big deal, big deal. And then they also get Nebraska Omaha the night before on that one too. That is the same Nebraska Omaha team that I think lost in 3 last year to Nebraska in front of 90,000 fans at a football stadium, because Nebraska is the state. I've actually have a Nebraska the state of volleyball shirt that is, I would say, college baseball and volleyball are the 2 biggest sports in that state.
Oh, absolutely.
Outside of football.
So Seth, decision for you. Diet Coke Classic in Minnesota or USF at Miami?
Diet Coke Classic in Minnesota.
Yeah, I figured. So they'll wrap up the non-conference slate with that Creighton Classic against Creighton and Kansas. Conference play, per usual, just play your conference teams twice. Then the AAC, or the American Conference tournament, is going to be at USF, hosted by USF as the regular season champs last year. So we'll be hosting then, and then the NCAA tournament starts December 1st. So big year for Coach Joe, big chance for redemption as well. Obviously, getting bounced in the second round last year against Wichita State wasn't ideal, and kind of for lack of a better term, killed their season. So we'll see what they have in store. So I think that's it for Pod by the Bay. A lot of media talk, a lot of good stuff.
Speaking of media, I did want to say good luck to Joey Knight. I don't know if you guys saw he had surgery last week and is recovering. I heard Golish mention his press conference. Billy Napier mentioned it in his press conference today as well. So I know he said he put it out on Twitter last week that he had a follow-up surgery at Moffitt last week, and it's going to require some recovery time. So prayers up for Joe. Hope he's doing well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Very nice guy.
Actually, that's so funny. I texted Joey when we were in, or just before we went to Charlotte. I did not know. Oh boy. Yeah. Joey, I know he gets a lot of crap from USF fans sometimes, but Joey is one of the kindest people I have ever encountered. He is just a very wonderful and kind human being. So I know he has beaten cancer before, and I hope he can do that again.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So good luck, Joey.
Yes, absolutely. But I didn't say on that note. I think we're good on Pod By The BAE here. Like we said, jam-packed episode, a lot of things to talk about. Got a quick little Ponderosa to do right after this, but appreciate you guys hopping on. Appreciate you guys flying to Charlotte as well. Not a fun experience at all.
I had a great time.
We had fun. Sitting on the runway for 3 hours really sucked.
Yeah.
I had the upgraded seat somehow, so it was great for me. I didn't mind.
Yeah, he got the better seat than I did, which is like, how did this happen? Wait a minute.
I gave it to him. Don't like
I didn't. I think it was just random luck of the draw.
It was lovely.
Oh wait, no, that's right. Because we paid for yours, but I donated mine to the cause because I had a free flight, and so that's because the free seat is actually the crappier seat. That's how I ended up in the back of the damn plane.
That's how it works.
Yeah, and so that's right. I haven't sent my invoice yet. I should probably do that at some point. Yeah. But no, it was a great time. I had a great time with you, Seth, and I hope that the league finds a way to make this event even more interesting and better for us in the future. Do it in Tampa. We can A13 the hell out of this thing. Like, let's just do it right here, man. Like, we could, convention center. Let me tell you, I live downtown. The convention center, when you need it. Like, there are plenty of good seats available in downtown Tampa right now. I don't know if you've noticed, it's a little warm. Not exactly a little warm right now. Put them out there on the Yacht Starship. They're looking for a little business right now. Let me tell you, there's plenty of places you can do this thing.
Sell it at Tim Pernetti. Sell it.
Yeah, call my boy Higgins, see if he wants to. The big thing being the airport, man. We got the best damn airport in the league, so
we'll bring the full force of the Bay Area Examiner there if you have it in Tampa.
Tim
Steeg
Pernetti, come on by. We'll do the reception at my place. We'll have everybody come over. It'll be fantastic.
That we're selling it. All right. On that note, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all have a wonderful evening, and go Bulls.
Go Bulls.